In this video, I'm going to take you on a quick flip through of Death in the Dark Continent Light, Wargames rules for small battles in 19th century Africa. This booklet comes free with the 400th issue of Wargames Illustrated magazine, and this video is intended to act as a guide to what the game has to offer. To begin at the beginning, the first page of the booklet tells us that DDC Light is a fully playable but cut down copy of the full version of the rules, which is a hardback book published by North Star Military Figures. The editor, that's me, has made a few subtle changes to squeeze everything you need into 32 pages, but fundamentally it's the same rules. With regard to what you will need to play, figures are 28mm and you'll need about 80 tribal or 25 colonial models per side, organised into multi-base units of between 2 and 8. Dice used are 6 and 20-sided. Players will also need something to use as disorder markers, and a standard game is played on a 6 by 4 feet table. Getting to the rules proper, we begin with a description of how chiefs are ordered on command bases, before moving on to the different types of foot and mounted troops. Each troop type is assigned a level of training, from raw to elite. The different types of weaponry for the game are described in firearms. Before we move on to the turn sequence, which gives a brief overview of the phases within a turn. The next 14 pages take us through each of these phases, beginning with Rally. Death in the Dark Continent is a game in which players attempt to load their opponent's units with disorder markers in an effort to hinder them. In the Rally phase, players can attempt to roll off these disorder markers. Movement has both a random d6 and sometimes fixed element. A standard unit of soldiers, for example, moves 1d6 plus 2 inches. Although unit cohesion must be maintained, within a unit each base acts independently, so formations and facing tend to be quite fluid. The real action begins with the shooting phase, and over the next 5 pages we have rules for how that works, including an example of a firefight between a unit of British Redcoats and Askari. In very brief summary, a d20 is rolled for each base firing. Depending on circumstances, a score of 14 or more will either see your enemy have to take a disorder marker or a critical hit, meaning a base is removed. More conflict comes with a close combat phase, and the next 4 pages of the booklet show us how this is done, again with an example of gameplay. Hand to hand in DDC really is bloody. Make sure your unit has a big advantage before you go charging in, otherwise you will not live to regret it. The effects of all those disorder markers and morale in general is covered on page 22. Over the next 3 pages, the rules booklet covers the effects of terrain, as well as specific rules for chiefs, baggage and formations. The full version of DDC contains 80 army lists, which cover everything from Azandi to Zulus. For the final section of Death in the Dark Continent Light, we present a sample of 3 of these army lists: Zulu and Swazi, British in South Africa and Maoist. Finishing off with an index and quick reference sheet. We hope you have enjoyed this whistle-stop guide to Death in the Dark Continent Light. Don't forget the rules come free with the April 2021 issue of Wargames Illustrated magazine, and the full hardback version is available from North Star Military Figures. This video has been brought to you by WI Prime, Wargames Illustrated magazine's online members club. View more videos or find out more about WI Prime by following these links.